One of the most intriguing actors that I've worked with a very interesting background, law enforcement, and now he's a thespian. I assume at some point in time, there's some theatrical ability that goes into being a police officer, and I will discuss that later on. But first, as we welcome Ronnie White to us, my friend who I've done a number of theatrical productions with via Casey Sherman. Ronnie, why are you addicted to acting?
So, yeah, you mentioned the law enforcement angle. Just real quick before I forget it, the first time I was a cop, I did a play. It was I'd asked a friend who had he did a Verizon commercial. Another friend was in a local movie, and I'd
Right.
asked them, "How are you guys doing it?" I always wanted to do it. Did a play in high school, and they said, "You have to take a class. You have to go on." At the time, I think it was theatermirror.com. You found local auditions. Now it might be Theater 411. And I did it. I took a class, did an audition, and I got the role. At the time, I was a cop. Cops found out about it. I was playing a cowboy, Bo Decker, and I was 26 at the time, playing a 20 or a 19-year-old.
Did they all
And
go? Did they all go to the play?
oh boy. So halfway through the first halfway through the first act, I just hear cans rattling, bottles dropping.
Oh yeah.
They tailgated.
No, shocking.
And then they came into the show, which was in a church. So, you know, that was my first. Before I forgot that I had to get that out there because
Well, that's
that's when I
great to
think
hear.
about.
No, but that's good for people to hear because
Yeah,
that's why you're addicted to acting. Because you would go when somebody ask me about it, I go, "Okay, will you go do a play for free in a hotel lobby?" And if the
absolutely.
answer is
Yeah,
yes, you're in.
yeah. I'd rather get not get work do something for free rather than get paid to uh, stand behind the camera or even have friends that did a lot of extra work. And I was always intrigued by it. I'm like, you're out on the set, you might get to meet some people that teach you things. But then I did it once, and the part I didn't like about it is people telling me how to do something.
Right.
Go there, go there. I like when you're acting, you get the script or whatever. It doesn't really tell you, how to do this or raise your eyebrows or look at somebody. It's just it's a different atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reason why I'm addicted to it in general, basically because I love movies right from the beginning.
Right.
Going back to a kid, in the 70s, the first time I remember saying, I want to do that was watching Cool Hand Luke with my father and just being like seeing Paul Newman up in his bunk playing a banjo. I didn't want to be the banjo player or anything like that. I just wanted to be that guy. It just like I was stuck, and every time my father watched a movie with that, I'd come in the living room. I remember back the Dirty Dozen, all those old movies. I don't care what it was. I'd be in the living room. Everybody else might be out playing wiffle ball or something. I'd want to be there watching what my father was watching. But yeah, so I mean, after that, it was my sister would take me to the Davis Square Theater to see Rocky, Grease, Saturday Night Fever. We were probably 6 years old and 8 years old going to the movies by ourselves in Davis Square, which wasn't a nice place to be at the time, but it was a safe space for us. It was great. And then, it was always the movies for me first. I'd take my brother when we got older we'd rent 6 videos in the winter, VHS, watch it all weekend. And yeah, it was just always something like that. Then in high school, I wanted to do it, but I was a baseball player. I was a basketball player, I was a football player. That always came first.
Right.
Summer of I believe it was like 86 or 87, Celtics in the finals. All my friends are going out to watch it together. But I heard there was an audition for a play it was a Saturday. They were opening up the high school for the play. It was going to be all improv. So what did I know? I just wanted to act. I think I was 17, about to be 17. So I told my mother, I'm like, I want to do this, but the Celtics are on. And, it was one of those things when you used to stay up late, you were like, oh, the Celtics are on, the Red Sox are on. And my mother used to say shit like, I'll read it in the paper tomorrow. And I used to be pissed. I'm like, what do you mean read it in the paper? It's on right now. And, but at the time she goes, come on, Celtics are it's only game 4 or whatever it was. I'm like, all right. So I went up there, did the audition, got the part. And I was half, wow, good for me. And half, oh shit, now what?
Right now I have to do it.
Yeah, and at the time, like I said, I was an athlete. We were in the state baseball tournament, so I had, it was, and I was somewhat leery about telling a bunch of jocks I'm going to be in this play.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
it's gonna be over 2 days. It's all improv based on a real life somebody's real life story. And so, I went and did it on the Monday, and I'll never forget being backstage. Well, before I even did it, I said to my mother, I, I can't do it. I'm not going to school today. And she's like, "What are you talking about? You've wanted to do this since you were 5 years old. You've always been saying this." She's like, "You just got to go out there and do it." And there was some, great people working there at the time. And they told me everybody gets stage fright. That's all you have. Don't worry about getting out there. And once I went out there, I felt, and you know what it feels like. No, I don't know. I mean, you love your kids, you're great, people are great. You get exhilarated over certain things, but there's nothing like that feeling for me, especially on stage.
Well, I think
Once you break
I
that
know what you
barrier.
want to say here is if I because I have to say it as well as I'm not saying that I love it more than my family, but it's on the same level.
Yes,
It's different. It's like, you know, it's your thing. It's something
right.
it fills your soul. It just fills
Absolutely.
your soul. It gives you a charge. And while of course you have all these other things in your life that you will not live without, this helps. Oh God, this is so tacky. It helps complete you because let's face it. You get kids. You're a parent. You're working. You always need something for yourself. For some people, it's golf. I tried it, couldn't do it. For some, it's pottery. For some, I mean, whatever. Walking your dog. For us, it's going to do a show, and it's going on stage, and it's traveling to New York for an audition. It lights us up for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And so many times I've had this discussion running with people like, is it a need for love? Is it attention? I go, well, I guess. But some of the best times I've had have been auditions that I thought I nailed that no one will ever see. No one will
Absolutely.
ever see. But I left that audition. I go, you know what? God, that felt great. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Or, if it was all just about look at me, look at me, look at me. What it is, you could be an influencer now. You just,
Mhm.
you could go on the Instagram as Officer Ronnie and do, I don't know, shoot
Nobody wants to see that.
shoot Coke bottles or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? So there's something more to it.
But going back, I credit my mother for getting me through that first bit of stage fright. So now I know whatever for the rest of my life, I can do it no matter what. I've done theater in the park type things, and before going out there, had to tell myself this is fun, this is fun, this is fun, because you
Right.
see everybody out there, and sometimes I have to talk myself into it. Even when we're at the Wilbur, I'm in the back. People are like, how do you get over stage fright? I'm like, you don't. You just go. You prepare. You're ready. The worst thing you can do is be unprepared, and then it's not stage fright anymore. It's just being unprepared. It's like, oh shit, I'm not ready to do this. But if you got it down, I lay in bed at night when we're doing Casey's plays. You got a couple of pages of dialogue. If I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm laying there, I'm running that shit in my head. I'm,
Always.
I'm driving
Always.
down the street. I don't have the radio on. I'm running that shit through my head until we're done performing. And if I don't have that to do, if I don't have an audition to prepare for, if I'm not in a class or getting ready for a class or preparing for something, I'm pretty lost. I need that. I
Right.
need it. And that might be the addiction that we're talking about, because I need that right now. I don't know if I needed it. I probably did, but I didn't know it before it was attainable. Before, you know, uh, even before the community theater or whatever
Mm,
in between, there's a real lull in Boston for a real long time. And even still, you could say there is to a certain extent, but
a little bit. A little
yeah,
bit.
I just really need, and even when an audition notification pops up, I'm a different person. I could be
Right.
sitting there watching, Red Sox or whatever, and then I look down, I see the phone notification. I'm a new guy. I'm like, oh, I get my notebook out. I'm printing it out, and it goes from that first feeling of looking at the sides and saying, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with this. To the time you shoot it, and you're like, that was easy or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I don't know. I think that my ultimate addiction, honestly, is for the love of not just the exhilaration I get from it, but I know other people have said it on your podcast of the you get to meet the greatest people. I mean, from all walks of life. And I mean, this past year alone, I've met so many unbelievable people and the places that it's taken me down to New York, down to Provincetown. And sometimes I just feel I sit, and it's, being a cop, it was, I was a Marine before that, saw a lot of bad things, but that wasn't the reason why I never felt completely happy. I think in my head, there was always this need to do something like this. So I don't, like you said, I didn't feel complete. I could play sports, I could work out, I could run, but there was never this thing. And I said to my brother a few weeks ago, a couple years younger than me, and I said, Jesus Christ, this is what people feel like when they're happy, like really happy.
Right.
And I just feel I'm 56 years old. I feel I'm so happy. Not just, it's the acting and all that, but my kids are awesome. People are healthy. My parents are still around, and I get to share this with them. You know,
Right.
I'm so fortunate, and I'm so lucky to know you and all the people that we get to work with. And whether I have another opportunity or I don't, I've been really, really blessed. Coming out of Boston, especially, it's not on our doorstep. We've had to go get it.
What have you taken from playing sports to acting?
Sports to acting, I don't know. It's a lot of that camaraderie, I'd say, that we have as teammates. It is a team, no matter what you do, unless you're doing a one man show. But even then, there's production. So I think the ability you get up to bat, you're relying on yourself, right? You're at the free throw line, you're relying on yourself, but you've prepared all that time to get there and succeed. Practice, practice, practice.
Well, if you're playing
So,
football and somebody hands off to you, what's the difference between that and giving a line to a guy on stage? A lot about like Mike O'Malley was the first one who said I interviewed Mike, and he said I loved team sports in high school, and I knew I wasn't going to play for the Red Sox. And he said he finds working on films and theater much like being on a team.
oh, absolutely, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
look at Casey brings us together. We do this Zoom thing. We never meet each other. Then the day of the performance in the Wilbur Theater, seats 1,000 people,
I know.
we first get up on the stage together, and then we
Yeah.
pull it off. It's
Yeah,
like
oh
if
yeah.
you can't do that if you're not part of the team. If you're a solo guy that doesn't care, or I'm going to wing this, we get up there and we kill it every time.
It's amazing. It really is. And I'm going through the list. I'll get through everybody at some point here, getting them on the show. But people have been on the show that Casey had brought in to the group, and there's no question. I mean, it happens, and it's a good group of people. It's a good group of people that are willing to work in a team environment. Um, so, why did you choose to go to the Marines? I'm thinking of Adam Driver, by the way. You and Adam Driver, both Marines who are now actors. Why did you decide to go to the Marines and not pursue theater in college?
So I did. Okay, I got out of high school and I went to UMass Boston, played a semester of. I say I went to a semester of school. I just played a semester of football.
Right.
I wasn't there for school. I played a semester of football, and when football season was done, I was gone. I was like, that's that. And at the time, I believe the Gulf War was going on, the first Gulf War. Um, Not to get too sappy, but I was completely in love with my wife now, and there wasn't a lot going on around here. And I knew college wasn't for me, so I had friends that went in the Marines, and I thought, if I go in the Marines and I have a job, I can. I was like 21 years old. I'm like, I can marry the girl I love. All these,
Right.
brilliant ideas. Which, it was the best thing I ever did. Join the Marines, go in the Marines. But opened up so many more opportunities. But the funny thing is, even going in the Marines, when I got out of the school when before they tell you where do you want to be based, they
Right.
asked me, do you want to be in the East Coast? Do you want to be overseas? Do you want to be West Coast? I said West Coast.
Oh
They said,
yeah.
why West
Ah,
Coast? And because I want to be an actor. It's close to Hollywood. I know people that were in Pendleton that had walk-on roles or extra roles.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to go out there. They ended up sticking me in Yuma, Arizona, which was awful. Yeah, it was brutal, but
310 to Yuma.
yeah, you get what you're asked for. I said West Coast. You're close enough, they thought, but it was the Marines. That's what you get. Yeah.
So the acting thing was still in your head. It never left you from the Marines. Then when you got out of the Marines, you went into law enforcement, was which seems like a natural transgression, was the
Absolutely.
thought that, okay, I'm going to work in law enforcement and still pursue this acting?
No, not right away. I mean, I'd sit there and write down scenes for myself, back before
Right.
people were actually doing it. And I probably had 8 notebooks of things or ideas for shows or
Right.
things I could do. But I didn't know how to. I used to ask people, how do I do it? Where do I go? Who do I
Right.
talk to? And I'd see local people on TV. I'm like, how the hell did he get there? What do I do? And then not until people started giving me the answers did I start pursuing it. And I was a cop at the time. But I think, as a cop, like I said, you see some really shitty things and you don't know how to process that. But one of the things I found out through acting is that a lot of the things that you do to combat stage fright or, a lot of the breathing techniques or physical type things we do for ourselves before we get on stage is the things they give you after a post-traumatic incident. There's like this breathing techniques or, just getting out there and talking to people. It's amazing how it correlated, whether from one to the other. I learned a lot from acting as to how to calm other anxieties, you know?
Did because obviously you want to have many tools in your toolbox, your emotional bank. So by seeing some things in the Marines and being a police officer, you must be able to draw on some experiences that can drive dramatic emotion.
Yeah. We don't get a lot of opportunities. Well, I shouldn't say we, I haven't had a lot of, more than 5-line movie or TV show
Right, right.
opportunities. But the plays have been great. But I think the best acting I've ever done was in a class. It was a Kramer versus Kramer
Right.
scene from the court room there, and it was a method acting class with Rachel Bailett. She's a local person, but works for the Actors Studio, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And again, it was going into it. They do all these breathing and relaxation techniques, so it gets you there, and then I'm telling you, I lost it. It's like I don't know I can't remember the movie what Dustin Hoffman did, but thinking of my own life and if I was in a situation where I couldn't talk to my son or
Right.
and all these other things started to come into mind. All the times I went to houses that had domestic issues and yeah, so
Right.
I went through that. And I was spent. They're like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel terrible. I feel terrible." And there was a couple of my
And they
people
said
that
good.
yeah,
Good.
exactly. Good for the performance, but
I feel like shit.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and scene. I'm like, now I got to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
home.
right.
Now I got to go home. But
Right.
yeah, but yes, you draw on things. I mean, I do have so many things, so many different parts of my life to draw on, and that's what makes me. I really hope for the opportunity one day to get it out.
Well, you're getting there. I mean, you're working, you're doing the procedurals in New York, you're doing films here. So you're certainly getting out there and getting the opportunities and getting seen. How much, well, I don't want to make this too much of an obvious question. Like when you go on a Law and Order or whatever, FBI or whatever, I assume you draw on your professional experience. Have you ever had a situation where you wanted to tell the script supervisor, this is bullshit?
It's but it's so funny. I'm like, I've had even the uniform. I'm like, what the fuck is
Oh
this?
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't wear
right,
that like
right, right,
that. I was just doing getting ready to do the fitting for Exorcist Martyrs, and I'm in the fitting room and I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, no, 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 you don't do this. And I'm telling this woman who just like got like Chiwetel Ejiofor and Scarlett Johansson dressed up, and I'm going to tell her what's up. I'm like,
right,
in I'm having like an inner dialogue. I'm like, shut up, idiot. Shut up. She knows what
right.
she's
Just
doing.
let it
This
go.
isn't your place. You want to get a job in wardrobe? Go do it. But it's like little things, but not so much the script because you watch it on TV. I'm like, come on. But in person, I'm keeping my mouth shut and doing nothing to rock the boat to get kicked off of
Right.
a set like that. I mean, I'll nothing. Just quiet down and
Well, I
say
have
your
friends of
line.
mine, I have friends of mine that are doctors, and I'll say, to certain medical dramas, and I'll ask them, and they'll go, "Oh my God, no, 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 no."
Yeah.
Even though I heard the pit's pretty real, but because I think they're taking the time with consultants, but when ER was on or some of those medical dramas, and my friends would be, yeah, yeah, that's not happening,
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting that you have that experience. I mean, that's pretty cool. So what's next? I mean, what is your dream role?
You know,
A non-cop? You want to play a
I know.
criminal?
Yeah, I like that. I grew up in Somerville. Winter Hill is, what we're known for. So I would love to have the chance to play. I don't want to play Whitey Bulger, that asshole, but I wouldn't, somebody in that realm, an Irish, the Westies just came out. They filmed
Right,
that last year, and I'm like, oh, I would have killed for an audition even for that,
right.
to read for that. But stuff like that, I'd love to do. But the very first thing I did was Patriots Day, and a lot of local guys, Billy Smith, Jim Colby, they were just John Annis. They were great guys. I was lucky enough to get a role in that. First thing I did that got me my SAG card. But I remember saying to them, asking them the same question, and all three of them basically saying they didn't say what kind of role they want. They just said whatever pays me enough to keep doing this.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I've seen you in 100 different things. Really? I'm like, you don't want to be a serial killer or what? Ronnie, whatever keeps me going or keeps me afloat. And these are guys that 100% live on that. That's
Well,
what
well,
they do.
that's a
So I'm
different
sure it's
situation. Yeah.
even, they don't have to have the right, they can't have this maybe pipe dream I want to have of, they have to accept what's given to them. Not like I'll ever decline anything either, but
Oh, of
I
course
don't, I
not.
really,
Well, I've had,
I, re-
I've declined newscasters after a
yeah, I get
while.
tired of it.
Well, because I know that that's the only thing they'll call me for if I
Mm,
don't. I mean, I did it for Ella McKay, and I said I don't want to read for a newscaster, and I got a job. I was a senator. I had a couple
mhm.
lines. Of course, it got cut, but it doesn't matter. It just, in a couple of situations, I just felt that I won't do it every time, but I just kind of felt like in order to get an at bat somewhere else, I'm going to have to say, so they will think of me in another realm.
Yeah, yeah,
Because obviously, like, look, you do a great job. I mean, you nail it. I mean, you're on premier, legal shows because, you have the look, you know what you're doing, you can pull it off. Um, but like, you're the first thing a casting director is going to think of because for you is that, which is
yeah,
great,
absolutely.
but like I just needed to break out and do something different. But even like if you play a cop, like if you play somebody in law enforcement, there are many different personalities you can play. If you're a
Yeah.
newscaster, it's generally the same stuff. Ba ba ba
Hmm.
ba. Officer White came in and
Yeah,
busted down the door, and we'll have a film at 11. It's kind of the same
yeah,
shit. Unless don't look up, McKay had me do some. You know what I mean? But with a police
yeah.
officer, you could be a crooked cop, you could be a good cop, you could be a
Right.
cop that's on.
True.
There are all
Yeah.
kinds of things you could do. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're getting at, and I would every cop role I've had has been pretty much that it's only 3 to 5 lines, so it's like what can you be? What kind of cop you are? You really don't know,
Right.
other than I'm clean cut cop guy. The one I just showed on Apple TV though, I got to be a little smart ass with Dolly DeLeon, the one of
Oh,
the
good.
leads, and it was so cool. Um, because the director even came over to me. He goes, "What did you do in the audition?" And I knew what I did. I had added
Yeah.
something, but I told him. He's like, "Yeah, no," like because he wanted more out of the scene. I'm like, but once I did that extra thing that wasn't on the script, I'm like, oh, I got this friggin' thing. Nobody
Yeah,
else
you
did
got
that.
it.
Nobody
Yeah.
else did that. And I kind of still feel that's why I got it. But it's like I felt like a different kind of cop just even during that 1.5 minute scene than just
And I
the
would think, now I'm just thinking out loud here, Ronnie, but the things you've seen as a Marine and as a law enforcement, as a police officer, I mean, you've seen a shitload of personalities. I mean, you can really draw on some stuff from the people you had to deal with.
Hmm.
Domestic abuse, crime, drugs. I mean, on and on and on. I mean, you got a lot of stuff you can draw on.
Yeah, absolutely. And but one of the things I think of too is like, can I play something other than what I am? Can I play something? I'm a father. Can I play something other than a father,
Right,
other than a
right.
cop, other than a Marine? I think I've played them all. And yeah, I would like to get, what do I have to do though? Do I gotta grow my hair out? I can't grow a
You
beard. I'm
might,
Irish. You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, you probably, you have to keep doing what you're doing till maybe because what I've done, like I just did a small movie, Air Blood, which is going to be great. It's satirical on Air Blood, and the writer and the director, the guys are great, and they said we want you to be, you're going to be broadcasting like a little league game, and I was like, oh. But then when I read the script, the guy's out of his mind. He swears.
Awesome.
It's in the '90s, so he wears crazy clothes. He's like off his rocker, like
Yeah.
he's just nuts. So they gave me funny glasses, so I was able to say the F word. So I was like, that's great. So like it's hard, for because like you'd probably love to play like I would just think being an asshole cop would be great. Like
Yeah.
like Dennis Franz, like in NYPD Blue, but when he was drinking and the way he used to
Mhm.
treat, I mean, just to go in and just be a
I I've
fucking
seen it.
prick.
I've seen every type of cop, and I think even at the time I was every type of cop, like the go get a hustler, the I don't want to do shit,
I'm
um,
having a bad day.
having a terrible day, having a
I
great
mean,
day,
you
and you're
gotta,
hustling. Yeah, there's
you
so many versions of a cop you could be, and there's so many stories about guys that I loved that were just like people wouldn't believe some of the shit they did, or the average life of a cop. What it's what and you can understand why people behave why they do when they get to work or when they get home afterwards because of the
But
shit they see.
thankless. I mean,
Yeah,
look, I mean, law enforcement, we need it. Should be great. Law enforcement, first responder. It's a thankless job. I mean, you
yeah,
got to be to be. I mean, you got to be special. I mean, to be a Marine and to be. I mean, you're. You got some intestinal fortitude that most people don't have. Who is your favorite on-screen cop?
oh man, so many good ones, right?
Harvey
Um,
Keitel, Caruso, Franz,
I didn't
Clint,
like Caruso. I loved Franzo. It wasn't any great. I
Prince,
mean, just the
Prince.
way he was just so down to earth, and there's something about the way he just handled everything. And I watched the your podcast with John Fiore, and he brought up a lot of good cops. Even
Oh, right.
Chris Noth and all those guys. They were
Yeah.
just say. I mean, those New York procedurals are just great. I'm sure when we're done, I'm going to go. Oh, it's like one of the things I tend to do now, even when I'm done with an audition or a scene. Like 3 days later, you're like, oh, I just had a new idea.
Oh,
It's
that.
so
Oh my
hard.
God. You're preaching
It's
to the converted. Are you? Can
yeah.
I submit again? Can I submit
Oh
again?
man.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's it, I would like as a cop, if it was a cop role, I would like to add more to what people have written. Sometimes we don't have the freedom to, but I really would like to show the guy at home, the guy at his kid's little league game, but he can't stick
Oh yeah.
around. And I mean, I got into it because I wanted to be a cop. It wasn't just to support my family. I'm like, oh, this is something I could do good for people. I didn't want to run around and arrest people. I really thought I could do good, and I wasn't a hard ass. I don't think I was big enough to be a hard ass, but I was a Marine. I'd go to calls. I was very well known in the city by the youth of Somerville.
Good. Yeah.
They called me Officer Whitey. I ended up being one of the coaches of the Somerville High baseball team. I really love to help people and to be around and be there for them. I didn't mind if my phone went off, or at the time, it might even before that, it was a pager. I just wanted to help, and that's why I did it. But I like people in, I wish I could play something like that where they saw the down to earth version rather than the drunk or the bad day cop
Well,
or the.
yeah. I mean, with the sure, I totally get that. And then with the procedurals, like my wife's it's not on anymore, but she used to love to watch SWAT.
I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, the recent one with
Oh, the recent one. I didn't
there
like
was
to
a
watch
new
that.
one on CBS.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
every dude was jacked,
Right, right.
just freaking jacked,
Yeah.
right? And even the women were. I'm like,
Nah,
come
I do
on,
that all
man.
the time.
I mean, I
Yeah,
would see that and I would just go, oh my God. Or
yeah.
like, what's the one I see now that one of the FBI's, there's, in the writing is interesting because the writing in a procedural, they have to expose certain information so you understand. But I mean, you see that cops don't talk like that. Like, there'll be some things like, well, we have to do this because it's an F-49, and an F-49 means we need to go down
Yeah, right. They give the
Broadway, and
description.
Broadway means we go, well, we just got this information in, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah. And it's like, okay, they just, you just buy it.
yeah. They're
My
gonna.
wife loves it. My wife is a brilliant person. She's a very success. She's extremely intelligent. She loves police procedurals. She loves them all.
Yeah,
FBI, Law and Order. She'd leave me for Mariska Hargitay in a minute. I mean, she loves them. And I go, why do
yeah.
you? And she just goes, it's just escapism, and they wrap up after every episode.
So, I just thought about one of the cops I liked on TV was Elliot Stabler because he played, even though he wasn't in real life, he plays a former Marine now cop on that show. So
Right.
you could kind of see the way his Marine, and he did an unbelievable job. I might have even tweeted it to him once how like he was right. He did it.
He's a
I
great
mean,
actor. Guy's a great
yeah, he's
actor.
amazing. And
Yeah.
he had that Marine Corps
Maloney.
stress and brought it into police work and his family. And you could tell his wife had been in the Marine. I always say my wife was in the Marines with me, you know, when I was in, and that's a very tough life. To be the spouse of a Marine in Yuma, Arizona, or when I went over to Somalia, then she's got to go home. It's wacky, and he did it. He rolled into his police work, and he was stressed from the other shit, and he still had to be a dad and a husband. So I saw him, and I was like, oh, that's great. He really nailed it.
Yeah, no, he's excellent. He's actually playing a football coach in a movie coming out. Coming out
Oh
soon. So
yeah,
yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
yeah.
Listen, Ronnie, any advice to people who want to get into this before I let you go?
To get into it,
Or any
don't.
advice? What are your
I
thoughts? What do you say?
what's locally, I'd say, there's so many opportunities around here. I wouldn't take a self-tape class before if you want to do it. I see a lot of people like, oh, I'm doing the self-tape class. I'm like, have you ever taken a scene study class? Have you ever
Right,
auditioned for
right.
community theater? Have you ever done anything like that? No. I'm like, oh, just baby steps. You don't go for it all at once. Oh, and the other thing is too, I always think of people, if they think they're getting into it for the money, stop. Stop. People probably think me and you made a ton of money from the credits that we have. You start divvying it up and go in taxes from 2 different states and everything else. It's sometimes you break even, but it's interesting because with that money, you might be able to pay for more classes. You might be able to, pay to travel to do auditions. But yeah, I would say if you come in to say, I want to be rich and famous, that's why I want to do it. Don't even do it.
Be an
But I would take
influencer.
a scene study class. This is the advice I got from Billy Smith and Colby and John Ennis when I was on the set of Patriots Day. And that's what I did. They give me the advice. What the hell do I know? So you tell me what to do. I'm going to go give it a try. Locally, there's Heather Whitty I love her because she gave
Right,
me this really confidence when I would do things. And on the other hand, she'd say, what are you doing? You
right.
know, so she's awesome. There's
Yeah,
Facebook.
I've taken Heather's classes. She's great. Boston Casting does great.
Yeah.
CP Casting has stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Just do it. Don't if you're wondering, I always asked, how do I do it? Where do I get into it? You can just do it in this area now. You can start with Boston Casting and keep moving. Keep asking us. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Ask me what to do next. I'm here.
and make stuff.
Yeah.
I made a short on my phone. You know, I made a short on
Yeah.
my phone. And I'm the other day I did a short with somebody. We were guerrilla filmmaking on the Common. Just
Oh,
out there,
awesome. Yeah.
just shooting stuff. Just it might, I'm and so just like anytime like you said, take a class, get a
Yeah.
scene. Just do whatever you can. Ronnie,
Yeah.
it's been great. I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right,
I
brother.
really appreciate it, and thank you for being a fellow addict.
Yes, sir, Gary. Take care, buddy.